Welcome back. This is Intro to Macros, session 4, and today we're covering fats because we talked about proteins. My name's Dana. Welcome. I'm a wellness coach and mentor, and one of my favorite things to talk about and educate people on is nutrition, because once you understand it, it empowers you to make the best choices for who you are and what your goals are, and the most effective way to, I think, to build a nutrition program for yourself is to understand what you're eating or consuming and how much of it you should be consuming for you. So, and macros, in my opinion, is like the best way to personalize that. So I wanted just to recap, because we've already done a few of these sessions on Intro to Macros. So just to recap, the first session we did was on carbohydrates, and a carbohydrate or a carb includes anything that is not a protein or a fat. So it's your sugars and fiber and your vitamins and minerals and anything else that is put in foods to hold it together, make it taste better, so like natural flavors, your starches, any like tapioca starch, potato starch, which are sugars, but a lot of times when we see a label we don't automatically think sugar. So anything that is not a protein or a fat is a carbohydrate, which is a huge realm of things that you can consume. And I don't just say foods, because it's anything that you put in your body you actually have to digest, even if it doesn't seem like it's a food, so it's a carbohydrate. Proteins. Proteins are mostly animal products, although they do come in like legumes and nuts and seeds, and some veggies have proteins, but not all of those are a complete protein. So if you are eating vegetarian or vegan, pescatarian, you're going to want to make sure that the combinations of the foods that you're eating in terms of plant-based combine all the essential amino acids that would make a complete protein. So on the scale, back to carbohydrates for a second. Carbohydrates have, for 1 gram of carbs, there's 4 calories, and a calorie is just a unit of energy and nothing more. It measures how much energy you're consuming. So carbohydrates have for 1 gram of 4 calories. Protein for 1 gram equals 4 calories, and proteins are made up of amino acids, and amino acids, like I was mentioning, you can have some of them in plant protein, but you need a combination of 21 of them to actually make a complete protein. Another thing to note, that if you are doing a plant-based diet, that most of what you're consuming more than likely is carbohydrates, and so I regularly encourage people on a plant-based diet to make sure you're getting enough protein, because that's often something that people miss. So building blocks, last session I didn't talk about essential, but essential, that term for macro counting and specifically to proteins and fats, it means that you have to consume it, that your body can't make it. So like B12, which is readily available in red meat, and I know that there's a huge debate out there on how much red meat you should eat. Small amounts might be healthy for you, because that's like a main source of getting vitamin B12 into your digestive tract, which is essential. And that's also why sometimes people take it as a supplement, is because if you are not consuming the proper external kinds of food, you have to find it in a way because your body doesn't make it. So that's a little in-depth, but just so you know, proteins are the building blocks of our body. It's what most of our muscle is made up of, and a lot of our tissues, and so it's really important, especially if you're active, and even more if you're on a plant-based diet, that you have enough protein. So making it over to fats, which is today's specialty. Fats are a big category as well, but the most important thing to understand about fats is that they carry a high energy load. So for every gram of fats, there are 9 calories. There was a phase in our history where fats got the blame for a lot of the conditions that we have today, and so we took them out of the diet, and then we actually put in hydrogenated fats, thinking that that would be more healthy for us, and in fact that has been proven to accelerate your fat retention process versus help you keep it off. So just know that fats have a really high energy load, and that's why we eat them in the fewest amounts, but we still need them in our diet because they help protect our nervous system. So there are many types. You can have saturated fat, which all comes from animal byproducts. You can have hydrogenated fat, which comes from the lab. And then you can have like poly and monosaturated fats, which many of those come from vegetables. But don't be fooled, even if those fats come from vegetables, there's still a separation there because certain types of vegetables like vegetable oil, corn oil, soybean oil, some of those, even canola oil, which comes from rapeseed, increases the inflammation in your body. And then other oils like olive oil, almond oil. I'm a fan of butter, but that's a discussion for a different time. Certain oils actually decrease the inflammation in your body based off of how they interact and what kinds they have, because there are even more categories under that. So between monosaturated and polysaturated, those are broken down into omegas. So kind of like proteins have amino acids, fats have omegas, and theirs are more broken down into omega-3, omega-6, and omega-9. And based on what you're getting out of those, it's more inflammatory or not. And that's actually what we're looking at when we're consuming the fat. First, the energy level. Second, is it going to create inflammation in my body? So, but fats are necessary even in smaller amounts in proportion to the other macros, because what they do is they help coat our nerves so we can send our messages quicker throughout our body, and then also they are carriers for nutrients and help with digestion. So they trigger different parts of the digestive juices so that we can digest better. So just because you consume fat doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to retain fat. It depends on the kind of fat and the amount of fat that you're consuming, and it's very necessary that we have it in our body for conductive purposes and digestive purposes. So that's macros in a nutshell, and there's so many deeper dives, but the name of the game with macro counting is to allow you to be able to dial in the numbers of these three to meet your activity needs and what your body needs for who you are and how you live your life. And then under that are like nutrition density. So we're not just talking numbers after that. We want to know what the micronutrients, the nutrition density are for the foods that you're choosing. That's macro counting in a nutshell. If you have any questions, please reach out at any time. I love nerding out on this stuff, and I build personal programs for people based off of what your goals are and what you're looking to do, and making sure that you're getting enough protein in ratio to your carbs and your fats. And yeah, it's pretty awesome because I see the most success when the numbers are dialed in. Oh, that's the second thing. When you're in the process of macro counting, it is not a lifetime goal. The goal is to learn and train and condition your mind to understand what works best for you, so that if you're in a space that you're not wanting to count macros or you can't count macros, you have an idea of what works best for you and how to choose the most nutritious foods. And so it's a vehicle to help you understand how to fuel your body better. Okay, that's a wrap. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll connect soon. Hope you enjoyed Intro to Macros. Reach out anytime. Have a good Friday.